From Washington, D.C. to the heart of America, welcome to Mark Alford's America. I'm freshman congressman from Missouri, Mark Alford, and I believe in America. I believe in you, and most importantly, I believe that our greatest days are still ahead. You know, each week we take you behind the scenes to share the stories, the news, the legislation, and to meet the great people who are helping shape our great nation. One of those lawmakers is chairman of the Small Business Committee. His name is Roger Williams. Chairman Williams represents the 25th Congressional District of Texas, which is in the north central Texas area and stretches from Tarrant County in the east to Callahan County in the west. Chairman Williams was raised in the Fort Worth area, attended Texas Christian University. Horned Frog, right?
Go Frog.
Go Frogs. He was an All-Southwest Conference baseball player, named to TCU's All-Decade team for the 1960s. He was appointed by Governor Rick Perry in 2005 to serve as Texas Secretary of State, where he helped usher in unprecedented economic growth to the state. He also served as the state's chief liaison for the Texas Border and Mexican Affairs. It's a long resume, folks. In 2012, Williams was elected to Congress. He has been the voice of Main Street America and families across the country for more than 50 years. He has run a family-owned car dealership and a calf cow operation. Congressman Williams is proud to be the chairman of the House Small Business Committee, on which I am honored to sit. And he was actually originally from the Kansas City area. Chairman, we are in your office in Rayburn right now. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be with you. And you did mention it, but I was in your district last week.
Yes, you were.
We got to see many of your friends and see how much they care for you and appreciate your message. And you in your intro, you just said you were a freshman up here.
Yes, sir.
Which is true. But I got to tell you, as chairman of the Small Business Committee, you are far above being a freshman.
Well, thank you.
You are somebody we totally rely on and somebody that we can count on that understands Main Street and the needs of small business.
Tell me about being born in the Kansas City area.
Well, I said, the other night I was with your friends. I told them I should be the congressman, not you, but from where I am, because I grew up went to Pembroke Country Day School, went to Tomahawk Elementary School. I was the first bat boy for the Kansas City Athletics in 1955 when they moved from Philadelphia to Kansas City. The summer of 55, I was the bat boy. Spent every day at Municipal Stadium. And then rooted for the Kansas Jayhawks till I ended up going to TCU and playing ball there. And my dad was the Lincoln Mercury dealer at the corner of Armour and Main downtown. And, of course, you and I have talked about this. We lived at the 78th and Knoll, which now I understand, and it went to 79th when I lived there. Now it's all developed and everything. So I got a big soft spot for Kansas City, both Missouri and Kansas, because it's part of our history. And the house that we lived in is still there, and I've had a chance to look at it, bring back memories. So, yeah, Kansas City is a friend of mine.
Any advice for the Royals?
Well, yeah, throw strikes, get some pitching, right?
Yeah.
And maybe build a new stadium.
Yeah. Well, I think that's in the works.
Yeah.
So they're either going to be downtown or north of.
But remember this: we don't want to make fun of the Royals because it was just last year that the Texas Rangers only won 68 games.
That's true.
And now they're looking at playing the Astros if the Astros win tonight for the American League Championship. So baseball is a game that it can happen on overnight, and the Royals have a rich history of being in the playoffs, being this, and one of the greatest players ever played is George Brett, who lives right there in Kansas City.
You were also, still are, the coach of the Congressional Baseball team.
Right.
How did that come about?
Well, it came about because I used to play baseball, and they were on a losing streak when I got up here, and I volunteered not to play, but to coach. And it's taken us a while to get everybody together. We've now won 4 in a row. It's a big deal, as you know, here. Last year we had 32,000 people at the game at Nat Stadium. We raised almost $3 million for Boys and Girls Club. We won 16-6. We are a dominant force in Congressional baseball, and and it's an honor when I walk the halls, whether it be with you or anybody else. Very rarely do I get called congressman. I get called skipper, or I get called coach, which is important to me because that's a badge of honor. So the Congressional baseball game is a big deal. It's got a history in the fact it's been played almost 112, 113 years. It's amazing, isn't it? And, of course, people may still remember the horrible shooting that happened at our practice
And you were there.
I was there, and I There were 25 of us there, and there was 25 different stories. I ended up in the dugout. I got wounded in the leg or in the ankle. Of course, Steve Scalise was one that people know about. He took serious damage, but my aide was wounded. Another aide was wounded. The two Capitol Police were wounded. It was a bad deal for America, and it just shows the divisiveness of this country that we still have.
How do we get past that as a nation?
I don't know. I mean, until we can agree to disagree and not be screaming at each other, so I don't know if we're going to do that. But I would submit to you that we are as far apart in this nation as we've been in a long, long time. And it's not center-left, it's not center-right. You know, it's like I say, if you're for it, I'm against it, game over. And we've got to understand that America has to be the dominant player in the world. America has to be the dominant player socially, economically, and militarily. The world is begging for it. We are not there now. Unfortunately, our friends don't trust us and our enemies don't fear us. And we're seeing that very happening right now. I believe that under past leadership, we would not have seen what's happened in Israel. We would not have seen what happened in Ukraine. We would not be buying our oil back from the enemy. All this stuff happened.
If Trump were still in office,
none of it would have happened. And high interest rates would not have happened. Inflation would not happen. But we've got a situation with the weakest president we've ever had and the weakest administrations. I frankly do not think they have America. It's not best of their heart to keep America strong. And here we are about 5 days into the situation in Israel, and we've got a president that has yet to come out and really condemn Iran and these others for what they've done. So that's how we get it back, is electing people that want America to be the best.
Did you ever think you would live to see the day where this type of savagery is happening in the Mideast, where babies are being beheaded, women are being raped in front of their families by Hamas terrorists who are animals?
Yeah, it's horrible, and it's so bad you don't even want to see it on TV. You don't even want to watch it. But I'm telling you, they don't fear this country. In the past, all we need to know is one day notice, and we were there to protect and defend and let the enemy know that if you mess with us, you're going to pay some real prices for it. But Hamas does not fear us. Our enemies don't fear us right now. We've got to respond, and we're not responding. It's not about words sometimes. It's about action. And, you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu, I had a great meeting with him, and he told me, he said, I don't need America ahead of me. I need America behind me. And I'm not so sure if people realize America is behind him right now. We had a secure briefing. You may have been there this morning. It was ridiculous. What they talked to us, it looked like it was the Iran Chamber of Commerce they were speaking about. They couldn't decide whether Iran had, any involvement in this yet. They were still looking at it. We know they did. And to tell us and tell the American people that $6 billion is not going to get in the hands of terrorists, that's a joke. That's a lie. And so forth. And then, in the hearing today or in the briefing, we had a general sat up there for an hour and a half and did not say one word. All we heard was from an assistant secretary of somebody. So it's pretty bad right now, but that's when you fight. That's when you stand up. You say enough's enough. You fight, and you fight again, and you get your country back.
We are in I don't want to say desperate. This is a pivotal moment in world history, and we are standing as members of Congress in a place that we could be called upon to make some very heavy decisions in the next weeks or months. Do you think about that at night?
Well, so I think about it. So look at, when the Founding Fathers built the U.S. House of Representatives, they said they wanted a slice of America. And all of our districts are different, aren't they? They all are different. And, and anybody can be a congressman, and that's the way it should be. I mean, look I'm a former baseball player and a car salesman. I'm in the United States Congress. And there's decisions that have to be made that are, like you say, are very heavy in your heart. That's why you have to rely on me personally. You rely on your spiritual background. You understand there's a higher calling that has some answers for you. But where it comes home to me is I represented Fort Hood, the largest military base in America for the last 12 years. And it began to come home to me when I began signing letters, putting my name, my signature on a letter to a parent, a grandparent, a son or a daughter, telling them how sorry I were that they lost their loved one in the war.
Wow.
It begins to hit home. Or when you have to greet a body that comes off an airplane draped in an American flag, and hug a 19-year-old girl that's pregnant when her husband's in that casket. This stuff, and this is stuff that you can't tell your friends. You can't, what it's like. And you're beginning to see this. And I've had these experiences. So, we're challenging times, but Churchill said, in every man or woman's life, there comes a moment you're tapped on the shoulder to do something great. What a shame it would be for that tap to come, you not be ready for that moment of greatness. And I believe in that, and I believe this is our generation's Valley Forge.
Well, listen, folks, what a great conversation we're having with Chairman Roger Williams. Stay with us for Mark Alfred's America. When we come back, we're going to find out, how does a car salesman get into Congress, and how Chairman Williams wants to put you, Americans, on commission. Stay with us. Welcome back to Mark Alfred's America, where we give you a behind-the-scenes look at Washington and let you meet some of the great people helping shape our great nation. Today, we're talking with Chairman Williams, the chairman of the Small Business Committee and representative for Texas's 25th Congressional District. Chairman Williams, I tell you what, you were one of the sharpest dressed guys. You stand down in the well of the house a lot. And where did you get your sense of fashion?
Well, it was not from my father, who was a Depression person who wore the same tie all week long until he'd get food on it, and he'd put a tie bar over the spot and so forth. But I just think that I've been around people when I was growing up that they always said, if you go into a meeting or you're on the field in baseball, you need to dress up, not dress down. And it's true, because people lots of times can be in charge or lead without even saying a word if they look the part.
Right.
And you don't have to be a rich person. You don't have to have a lot of money, but you have to be neat and clean, and anybody can take care of themselves there. So, it's fun. Most of the time you put a handkerchief in your pocket and people think you're well-dressed, and you look pretty good yourself.
Well, I like to wear the hanky.
There you go. So anyway, but I think it's important. It's important in selling anything that you stand out professionally when you go to send the message out. I'd much rather deliver a message in my blue suit with my red tie or yellow tie than I would in my blue jeans and a white shirt. I think people listen better.
How does a car salesman end up in Congress?
Well, a car salesman ends up in Congress because I was always involved politically, always voted, always knew the importance of it. I had parents who were very political, so I kind of grew up in it. But I never, ever wanted to be in Congress. Never wanted to run I never had it. I just wanted to do work and build my business and so forth. But back in 2010, I got mad one night because I had people coming, as you did previously. They come see me. They say, Roger, I need your name. Roger, I need your money. Roger, I need your house. I need your endorsement because I'm going to do these things. Da, 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 da. And it all sounded great to me, and I did it all. But one night I listened to one of them on TV, and the person was talking to something that was opposite from what they told me in my office, and I got mad, and I said, I'm going to run for Congress because nobody's fighting for Main Street. Nobody's fighting for small business. So I got in a primary with 13 people. I was the 13th to get in. The race was 2 months out. The others had all been campaigning. I raised a sizable amount of assets from friends of mine. I went on a pro-business entrepreneurial message of lower taxes, less government, cut spending, defend borders, listen to your generals, understand 10th Amendment, and always stay with Israel. And I won on that. I won on less government. I won on believing in the people, not the government. I won on the fact that one government did three things: collect my taxes, defend my borders, and help me the infrastructure and get out of my life. And we won on that. But a car salesman got into Congress because I cared. I had a message. It was from the heart, and I felt like it could help a lot of people. And if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be able to go to sleep at night. So that's how I got involved. And I ended up winning, and that's 12 years ago, and so forth. So now I'm chair of the Small Business Committee, which is the perfect committee for me and a perfect committee for you. And we're getting things done, and I feel pretty good about it.
I love our committee. What is going on with small business, and in particular the Small Business Administration, that is really, I think, putting up roadblocks to successful businesses in America? Kind of explain the issues to America that's listening right now.
Well, the Small Business Administration, i.e. SBA, is under our purview, as you know, in this committee. That's one of the big things we do. We have oversight of the SBA. The SBA traditionally has been the loaner of last resort for small business owners that want to get engaged. They go to their bank. Banks helps a little, the SBA helps a little, and we create a new business. It's been a pillar of that. Ever since the Biden administration, we've seen the SBA get off the rails, as I call it. They've become rogue. They've become political. They won't even admit, the executive director won't admit under oath if you cut taxes, you help small business. They won't admit to that. I would say, no matter who the president is in the White House, if you're head of the small business, you should always be for lower taxes, less government, belief in the people, and believe in risk, and believe in reward and opportunities and all that. You should always be for that, regardless. Well, this agency's not. And this agency then, when COVID came, got totally broken by COVID.
How so?
Well, we have, you remember, and your listeners remember, we had the PPP program.
Right.
PPP program was not a bailout. It actually gave America a return on investment because the money went to small business owners to keep their employees working, keep their business open. They had a return on investment, and it was handled by the private sector, by the banks. The banks during PPP, to me, could be compared just like the auto manufacturers in World War II when they switched from making cars to airplanes. And the same thing with the banks. In this period of time, they kept the economy going. But so it was successful. And then we had the SBA. So wait a minute, I want to be a part of that. I want to have some fun in doing that. So we came up with the EIDL loans, which have to be paid back and so forth. And so they sent money to people with no Social Security numbers. They sent money to people with phony Social Security numbers. They sent money to people who lied who they were. People got money in their bank they didn't even know what they had it in there for. No payback schedule. The SBA managed that. And at the end of the day, when the dust settled, from an independent auditor, which you were in the meeting, we had $200 billion missing out of the SBA.
Possibly up to 600.
Possibly up to $600 billion. Unbelievable. And this is an agency the size of, if it was a business, it would be capitalized at $1 billion. And these people loaned out $200 billion, $600 billion. Can't find it. Well, where is it? It's in all those people that lied, all those people that cheated, and it's also in the hands of foreign nationals, which really makes me mad because a foreign national has that money. That's money that could have gone to the small business owner in your district to meet payroll or whatever, but it didn't. It went to a foreign national. We got to get that money back.
So your idea is to put America on commission to get this money back.
We got to get that money back. It's the taxpayers' money. To me, in business terms, it's a receivable the taxpayers have from the government. It's a payable the government has to the taxpayers. We're gonna not just talk about it. We're gonna perform. We're not gonna be a committee that talks and does nothing. So I want to put the people on commission. I want to commission America. And if you can find some of this money and bring it back to us, we'll pay you 10% commission. And if you can find some money that's been to China, we'll pay you 15% commission. And that's a 90% return on investment right there for the American taxpayers. I'm not here to say we're going to give $200 billion. But if we got $5 million, if we got $20 million, that's a lot of money.
That is.
This is an agency that wanted to write it off at a $100,000 clip so the taxpayers wouldn't notice it. It's our money. It's not their money. That's being very devious when you say that. So we're going to get after it. You've already committed to help lead the charge on getting this money back, and we're going to go with it the next couple of weeks. We're going to have another hearing on it. We're going to announce how we're going to do it, and we're going to put the taxpayers on commission, bring the money back.
How do we get cooperation with the SBA when the director won't even show up before our committee, Ms. Goose?
You're exactly right. Well, we had a hearing, and she failed to show. We had an empty chair there. That was the day the Inspector General was there. He would have thought that she would have brought some people to support her, but when the $200 billion came out, if you remember, she said, "Don't worry about it, boys. It's only $36 billion." Imagine that. Only $36 billion. Like that's chump change. Okay. So now she thinks that $36 billion, losing that and can't find it's okay. We don't think $200 billion is okay. We don't think $600 billion is okay. We're going to fight it, and if we have to force her to come to these hearings, we're going to do that. She's in a cabinet position. She represents Joe Biden, and she's not coming to the hearings that oversight the businesses she's involved in.
Well, we can't even get in the Small Business Administration, nor the USDA, nor the VA, nor the ATF. They are keeping us, members of Congress, out of these bureaucratic offices. That's why we've introduced the Congressional Access to Bureaucratic Offices, CABO, and we are going to get it into law that we can go, if they're not going to come to us, we can go see them. Only 9% of the workforce in the SBA is actually in their offices. A recent GAO report says that. 9 to 20%, and really the government offices around here, which is, people need to get back to work. We've got to get back to building businesses and making Main Street America work. Your last words.
Well, talking about the SBA wants to be bigger. They need to be smaller, okay? We need to find the money. But the bottom line is that your listeners need to understand, with Congressman Alford and Congressman Williams, they have people that are going to fight for Main Street America at the end of the day. I still own my business. I still employ over 300 people in Tarrant County, Texas. I have skin in the game. You've been in the game. You understand. And your listeners need to know that we are fighting for small business, less regulations, lower taxes, risk and reward, opportunity to realize the American dream, and we're going to get there.
Chairman Williams, thank you for your friendship, your mentorship, and what you're doing for America. Appreciate that. Hey, thanks for joining us for Mark Alford's America. We'll talk again next week. Until then, remember, folks, I believe in you. I believe in Main Street America. I believe our best days are still ahead of us as a nation. Hang on, folks. Better days are coming. I believe in America. God bless you. We'll see you next week.